You know what I'll never prevent, though?
What's that?
Our last and final and greatest segment of the Mustache Ride podcast, Play or Pass.
Nice.
Because you know what, Tooth? We love playing video games here at Mustache Ride.
Yeah. Do you play? I'm going to play more games. I've decided. I see your list all the time. Next episode, I'm going to have a big list. Because I love it too.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Maybe I'll have an even bigger list.
Damn, you probably will.
You shouldn't have told me your plan.
I know.
Anyway, each episode, we spin our great Wheel of Games. Yes. To see what game we're going to play in between episodes individually. Sometimes if it's multiplayer, we'll play it together. But typically, individually. And then we come back the following episode and have a good, fun discussion during our Player Pass segment where we discuss whether or not we each would recommend people play or pass on this game. The game that we'll be talking about tonight is called Dungeons of Hinterberg.
Yeah.
And Tooth is going to tell us a little bit about that, baby.
It's a pretty cool game. Pretty cool game. We'll talk about some of the other stuff, but just to give you a little heads up, it's a cel-shaded adventuring game developed by Microbird Games, their only game. So it's a dev group out of Austria. But it came out July 18th, 2024. This was a Xbox showcase game or a Summer Game Fest showcase game. I can't remember, but it was in one of those. It piqued my interest because the graphic style was so cool. But what it's about, you're armed with a sword, which seems weird, like given the context of the game, but you're armed with a sword and a tourist guide. And you're exploring the beautiful alpine village of Hinterberg to uncover the magic hidden within its dungeons. Weird. Master magic, solve puzzles, slay monsters, and all this awaits you in Hinterberg. Kind of cool.
Yep. Kind of cool.
Yeah.
I'll start.
Okay, go dive in.
Overall, I played this game for about 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And I played like 1 hour here and then another hour there. The first hour, I was like, this game's kind of boring. Not for me. Mm-hmm. Very pretty. Love the graphics. Love the graphics. Love looking at it. Not for me. Yeah. The second hour I played it, things changed. And I was like, wow, this game, actually, there's more to the combat. There's like charms that you can equip. There's attack conduits, which are basically just like extra attacks you can do.
Yeah.
The puzzles get a little bit tougher and more in depth, and makes you think a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just, I don't know, it just makes the gameplay more interesting, more deep, and I appreciated that. So the first impression was a little boring, but then it really started to sink in that okay, we're really getting into something here. Not to mention, the game, despite being focused on clearing dungeons and getting out, getting loot, getting new gear and stuff, it's also like 50%, maybe 49% of it is focused on chill.
Yeah.
On like
relax.
Vibes.
Relax. That's one of the key things that you can like grow your like stat tree on is relaxation.
Yeah, I actually wrote down there's three main stats: amusement. Three of the main stats: amusement, familiarity, and relaxation.
Yeah,
which is like you can spend a whole afternoon just sitting on a bench looking at the view instead of going and clearing a dungeon, which is nice.
Did you try that?
No,
I did.
Okay.
It like goes through with like you sit on a bench. A little more context, like with the game, I guess. Like the main character is a lawyer. In the city, and pretty much hates her life. It's crazy. Like the story is so the whole time relatable. Yeah, I have a clip. I have a clip that I'll play. But then so she's traveling here as a vacation. So that's part of the vibe for the relaxation. But you sit on the bench, right? And it just like goes more into that story of like, God, I hate my life.
Yeah, I mean that's straight up.
It is.
I like how relatable it is, and it gets more relatable how in depth she goes with like, oh, this problem, that problem, and but I'm
Yeah.
here, I'm on vacation,
I'm doing
I'm here,
it.
I'm on vacation here to slaughter animals. I just one after the other with my sword.
I will
Couldn't get more
say
personal than that.
I will say
Killing
I
things.
agree with you that it does. There's so much killing, beyond the relaxation. That I would agree. Like the first hour is the tutorial.
Mhm.
That's so long.
Yeah,
To tutorial for so few things that you can do. Actually, like I spent probably 10 minutes looking for how to jump, and you can't. There's no jump.
that's one of my clips. It's a really short clip where I find out you can't jump,
Yeah.
and I don't like it.
Yep.
I don't like it. I
Alright.
want to jump in games. No jumping in this game? No jumping? Lame.
Yep.
Yeah, straight up.
I had that moment in this experience.
How about that climbing
That's a
though?
little janky, I think. I just felt like the jumping, the movement for jumping and climbing, so janky.
You just mash A to climb things.
Yeah. Did you play with a controller?
Yeah.
Okay, I played on mouse and keyboard.
Oh, okay. How was that? I guess you would know.
Yeah, that part's janky. Like the jumping is janky, or not, the lack of jumping, and the climbing was a little, too. I don't. That's interesting. I'll have to play it on controller to see how the combat changes.
Yeah, the combat is just a little dry, but then like I said,
Yeah.
once you unlock more stuff, it feels a little bit more in depth. Like you have more options in combat, and it feels a little better. Then also as you get further in, there's more different types of enemies, which also switches things up, and it feels a little better. So
the magic is kind of cool. Like I felt like the beginning things that you get, like you get this giant grenade that's sort of like the thing from Breath of the Wild, like the little bombs you can throw. It's pretty similar,
like a big boulder that you can blow up.
That's pretty cool. Did any of the monsters like totally just freak you out? There's one specific for me that I was like, that thing is freaky.
The one with the long noodle head, and then he sticks his head in the ground, and then his head pops up somewhere else.
Yep.
Oh. Yeah.
What the heck?
He's got like a goat head.
Yeah,
I didn't even notice that.
It's like some weird goat giraffe thing. I was like, what in the whole world is that thing?
Yeah. One quick thing I want to say about the story is that like you said, the tutorial is kind of long.
Yeah.
And they do a lot to set up characters and like what you're doing there. And like you said, she's a lawyer, she's on vacation.
Yeah.
So I guess she heard about how a bunch of dungeons just popped up one day 3 years ago in Hinterberg.
Yeah.
And then since then, that 3 years, where all these dungeons, Hinterberg in general, where all the dungeons popped up, just became some amusement park where people can come and become slayers, or people that come and clear the dungeons and kill the monsters. And that's not enough for me. I'm sure there's more. There's got to be more to it later on in the game. Yeah. But that's lame.
I think there's a lot more story to it. Did you find the guy that looks like the old man from Up, but young and bald?
Oliver or something, or what? I forget his name.
So I don't want to spoil too much, but he talks about like the magic that's popped up in other places, and how there's like a connection between all of the magic that's popped up in other places. But I don't know how deep it gets beyond. That's weird. There's magic that pops up places. Right. Let's figure it out. So maybe it gets a little bit more in depth, but it's hard to tell right now.
It's just not a strong enough concept. I think they really rely on the relatability of wanting to just leave your life and go do something else and adventure.
Yeah.
But then what you're adventuring is just these dungeons popped up and we're going to go look in them. and kill the monsters inside. And they make sure to make a point that the monsters are not sentient. They make did you read that?
Yeah.
She's like, are they sentient? And he's like, oh no, they're not. Like, they don't think, in case you're wondering. And it's like, I'm glad you said that, but also you're making me think like maybe they are later on. Like maybe one of them's gonna talk to me one day, and I'll be like, what? I've been slaughtering all of you guys, and you're gonna tell me, you're gonna say something to me now?
Yeah.
I don't know.
That could be the buildup. I'll play this clip about the relatability because when I was like, this is like the beginning. The office, bleeding into one another, short weekends, spent on the couch, doing nothing but recovering from the work stress. God, this game is literally about me. That's exactly what I thought. Like that's on the car ride to Hinterberg, and you're talking to SureManCool on the way to Hinterberg. Oh, that dude with the mustache, that's SureManCool.
Well, the guy driving?
The guy driving looked just like you.
That's me.
And
driving a taxi, hating my life.
Oh, look at that dude. And I was like, the whole time you're riding to Hinterberg, and you're just like, God, dude, what a bummer.
Yeah, it's
you're
like,
bumming
man,
me out.
I do feel sometimes like with my monotonous day-to-day life, that I want to just get away and kill things. You know what I mean? Just with the knife, just like go and just kill a bunch of stuff. Use magic powers to slaughter a bunch of little guys. So it is very relatable.
Super relatable.
One thing I do want to talk about is the characters, because they put a lot of emphasis on the characters. The gameplay loop is basically like you have a morning conversation with somebody over some coffee or something, then you head out to a dungeon, complete the dungeon by solving puzzles and killing monsters, and then you get a stamp in your journal, and then you leave the dungeon. Then you come back in the evening, you do some shopping, and then you choose one friend to hang out with and build your friendship level with them.
Yeah.
Each time you hang out with somebody and build up a friendship level, you unlock something. And they're usually pretty substantial things. So it's really worth it to go and build a friendship with somebody and hang out. And so like the very first friend you meet, her name is Alex. And just for goofs, I shut her down and denied. I said no. I was rude to her.
Yeah.
And so this clip is probably the longest clip. It's Alex doesn't take no for an answer, is what I called it. Rough first day.
Oh, dang.
What's it to you? I've seen your stare on a dozen first timers. Always says the same thing.
Oh, I didn't say that. Same exact voice. Same exact thing.
This was a mistake.
Yeah.
Leave me alone. I'd rather be alone right now. Believe me, love, that's a bad idea.
Okay, now it's starting to change.
I'd rather be alone. Okay. Do you mind if I sit? What the? I literally just said I'd rather be alone, and you're just ignoring me. I don't want to talk about it. Look, can we not talk about this? I'm still processing everything. What exactly did you think you were going to find here? Bro, I don't want to talk about it. I'm just going to keep being I'm just going to keep her shut out. Look, I don't know you.
What are they drinking? That's funny.
I don't know, but either way, it's like, I don't know you, and she just keeps going and talking. It's like, bro, I don't want to be your friend. Are you gonna make me spell it out to you, Alex?
That's funny.
I don't want to be your friend, but then you have to be your friend, and eventually you don't get a choice of what dialogue to use, and you're just friendly with her. And so it's like, don't even give me the option to be rude if you're not gonna honor that.
Yeah.
And take that in stride. So
and
that was kind of funny, but I don't hold that against the game.
That is funny because the dialogue is exactly the same almost. Like if you go the other route, because I went the nice route, like the dialogue sequence is almost exactly the same. So that is kind of weird. Like I feel like there should be like your renown goes down or something.
Yeah.
That
like
could
your
be,
friendship level doesn't build up because you didn't make a friend.
Yeah, you should have that option because
the illusion of choice.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's kind of a bummer though.
Yeah, but overall I do like the idea of building friendships with people in the village in Hinterberg.
Yeah.
And then getting something out of it. And it's funny because I think Alex herself, she gives you like a journal of all the people in Hinterberg that you can meet and be friends with,
Yeah.
and specifically what you'll unlock if you hang out with them and build your friendship level. And then there's an option saying that's not right or something like that. And so Luisa says, like, that's not right. Like, you're just going to see what people will give you. Like, you're only going to hang out with people if they give you something good. And then Alex tries to justify it in some way. She's like, no, it's not like that. It's like, if you don't want to hang out with somebody, just don't.
Yeah.
But it's like, no, I that's a little fourth wall breaky. I kind of get what you're going for there. So
that's funny.
yeah.
It is a cool concept that the friends you make give you different things, like, and I feel like the tutorial is even more stretched out then, because you start like learning new things, like when you get a charm or a different piece of armor or something like that. Like, I feel like it teaches you how to move through it.
Mhm.
And I feel like maybe this could have been because I was on mouse and keyboard, but I felt like I was just like hitting the wrong button every time I got something new, because I was always trying to like run. Like, I was always trying to run or jump, and I was hitting the keys for run and jump that would normally be in a game, and they just weren't there. And then it would
Yeah.
like mess me up and like on like efficiently using the cool stuff that you get.
You gotta try. You gotta try controller.
I gotta try
I think
controller.
that's the only way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that messed up my thing. How did you feel about the combat? The combat, I thought, even after 2 hours, got a little dry.
I thought that the layers, at least in the early game that I played,
Mm-hmm.
they layered it on appropriately. So like initially it was pretty boring. Then they added magic, which gave it some. You had some more options within combat,
Yeah.
and then they added the charms and the weapon, or the weapon. What is it called? Attack conduits.
Yeah, the attack conduits.
That would have killed me if I didn't say it. But they layer on these different elements, and it's like, okay, it's getting a little deeper and more to manage, and I like that.
Yeah.
And then like I found a new sword, and I was like, oh, sick, new sword. I like finding new stuff. I like that. And so it warmed up a little bit, and I ended up liking it. And then the next layer is the different kinds of enemies that you find. Like,
Yeah.
I have a clip of the final boss of the very first dungeon that you go into, so it's not really that big of a spoiler.
Yeah.
But we're gonna show the last boss. I sped it up, by the way,
Oh, okay.
just because I didn't want it to take forever. But
Dude,
you get a good vibe. It's not normally this fast.
This one was hard.
Oh, really?
I thought when I was first fighting her that I was like, oh, this was like seems a little tough for the first boss.
Yeah.
But like I beat her first try, but it was still like I was like, oh, this seems like a difficult one compared to the tutorial boss.
Yeah. This is a step up for sure.
But
not too bad. And it makes you wonder where it's gonna go with the with the different kinds of enemies. That was a cool new enemy. I like that.
Well, I would say the tutorial boss was a puzzle. And so I thought all of the dungeon bosses were going to be puzzle-like, but they don't seem to be that way so far.
Yeah.
For me to spice it up, I went into a level 3 dungeon.
Oh.
And I ended up getting through it. I died once in it, but I got through it. But that was kind of nifty. Like to go
I'm
through.
curious how that was. That probably switched things up for you. Kind of gave you a challenge.
It did. There were a lot more encounters. Like almost every place you went into, there was an encounter that you hit, and there were just multiple spawns of monsters. And so there would be like little ones that would pop up like mid-fight when you almost had killed the other ones. And so that was kind of cool.
But then if you're under leveled, then everything is a sponge, and it takes forever to kill.
It did,
kill them, right?
It took forever to kill them.
I bet.
But I had to use like all the magic abilities. The world. Did you get the whirlwind?
Yeah.
Thing. Yeah.
It bugs me. You can't stay still, so you have to keep like moving around the little arena.
Move. Yeah.
Yeah.
It took me a little
still
while.
pretty fun.
I thought it was just gonna like automatically move you to enemies, but you had to like point to where you want to go to move around. Yeah. So I thought it would auto lock.
Yeah, but overall, really pretty game. I love the colors. I love the art style.
Yeah.
The combat it gets better. It gets better and better, but I think it plateaus. It will plateau eventually. I just hope they keep, putting in new enemies. And the puzzles. What do you think about the puzzles? I thought they were pretty decent, and they got better as time went on. Like I thought they made me think, but not too much. On one of them, I got stuck a little bit, and then I finally figured it out. And I think that's a good place to be.
Yeah, I felt like the puzzles were pretty decent. I think every now and then I would get stuck on something that I'm like, where do I even go? Like, because there's a part where you have to get into a minecart, and then that cart takes you through the door and it opens it. And I was like, there was one that I just like opened the door and I was like, what happens next? It was in the level 3 dungeon, I think. And or it might not have been. And I didn't even think about it, but then I like walked up the path and I looked back and there was just like a pressure plate on the floor that I had to drop the giant ball on.
Oh.
And I was like, duh. Like, and I feel like that's some of the things that the puzzles aren't like super difficult, but if you're trying to move too quickly, you can overlook some of the really like finer details of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Nice. Well, yeah, I like the puzzle aspect of it. I think that's I think they nailed the difficulty of them, and I'm sure they're going to get more and more interesting, or at least more interesting. And I like how each puzzle really uses the magic that you have to a good extent.
Yeah, I feel like it does too. I think it did remind me a lot of Breath of the Wild puzzles. Like there was
the shrines.
Yeah, the shrines. There was one that I went into where like you had to move a bunch of platforms around to line up a minecart path.
Okay.
And that one was, I was like, the whole time I was like, what am I even doing? Like, I don't understand what I'm supposed to do, because the camera angle shifts in that shrine or in that dungeon part, and you're top down, like axonometric, so to give you the view that you're able to walk around and see what's going on. That aspect was kind of cool.
Axonometric?
Yeah.
Is that a word?
Axonometric, yeah.
Axonometric?
Yeah, that's the top. That's like the 45-degree angle, top-down angle view.
I've never heard that word in my life.
Dang, dude. Get with the times.
Axonometric.
Axonometric. Write that
Sorry,
down.
I didn't mean to throw you off. I just
write that down. Look that up. But
I wouldn't even know how to spell it if I tried.
That's
ASKO something like that.
Oh, buddy. But the camera angle change was cool. One thing that I thought is that each area would have one dungeon. Not the case. There's 25 dungeons in this game. Lots of content, at least for the type of game. No, not third person.
I always call it isometric, like an isometric camera.
Yeah, that's similar. Axonometrics is a different angle.
That's so many syllables, but hey, look.
God, yeah.
Either way, axonometric is kind of awesome.
It is.
Like that's a cool word.
It's a cool word.
Dude, just cut to the chase, all right? Would you play this? Would you recommend people play this, or would you recommend people pass on this game, Dungeons of Hinterberg?
It is $30 US if you do not have Xbox Game Pass.
Right.
It is free on Xbox Game Pass, and so I'll say play, with the caveat that I personally would probably not pay $30 for this game.
Fair.
It's just it looks really great. The play is good, but I think if I were to play the demo, I'd be like 24 hours worth of content, because that's the amount of time it takes on average to 100% this game for $30. Seems a little limited to me.
So play?
Yeah. If you have
play
Game Pass.
asterisk.
Play asterisk if you have Game Pass.
Okay.
Or you get it for free.
I can see this game because it's not just like a regular dungeon crawler. It's a dungeon crawler with a chill twist, a chill vibe twist, and I think that's a really good original take on a dungeon crawler.
That's true.
I can see this really resonating with some people. I'm not that kind of person. I don't love it. I wish it were something else. But I love how it looks. I love certain aspects of it. Like I like that you can make friends and that is actually beneficial to you. But it just takes a lot of time and I don't care what anybody has to say because it's just not for me.
You don't want to make friends.
I want to make friends, but I want them to shut up. You know what I mean?
Dang,
like I don't.
Yeah, you don't want to make friends. That's what that's called.
I want what they're gonna give me.
Damn.
I want to be like, yeah. Okay, just give me the thing. Give me the upgrade.
Wow.
Yeah. We're friends. Yeah, we're chill.
Wow.
But I want the thing.
Wow. You see people? You see what kind of person this is? You see?
No, it's when I play games. It's not real life. In real life, I care.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Anyway. So I would say it really depends. For me, it's a pass. I love.
That's fair.
How it looks, but for me, it's a pass because it's not my kind of game.
Yeah.
I probably won't go back to this game, and spend all the time going through all the dungeons, doing all the puzzles. But it's like a light pass, a really light pass. It's verging on the line of play and pass, where my own opinion really just pushes it onto pass for me. So if you're like me, pass. If you're not like me, and it all sounds like what we're talking about sounds like something you would like, play it. But if you're like me, pass. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fair. It looks like the game would be fast paced. It's not. It's slow, but it is a vacation. But it's a vacation. There is that. Yeah.
These dungeons just popped up one day.
They just popped up so weird, and now we're gonna spend money.
Now we're gonna spend money and kill things.
Yeah.
Big tourist attraction, killing monsters.
I feel like a lawyer would be like, "How is this legal?" Which she does say in the game. She does. I
don't remember that. But that would make sense.
Yeah.
Questioning the legality. She's like, "Are these things sentient?"
Is any?
Oh no, they're not sentient. Don't worry about that. They don't think or talk or anything like that. So don't worry. They're just here. I wonder. I'm kind of curious to look it up and just so I don't have to play the whole game, but just to look it up and see like, is there a twist to that toward the end? Because that would kind of be more intriguing.
That would be intriguing, actually.
I'll look it up later. I'll spoil myself. We don't need to spoil the people.
You know what else is intriguing?
Tell me.
The next game that we're going to play after we spin. The Great Wheel of Games.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, we're going to spin the Great Wheel of Games to see what game we're going to play next and discuss next episode. But before we spin the Great Wheel of Games, we have to add a couple games to the wheel. And I'll tell you what, Tooth, the wheel lately looking pretty great. There's a lot of games on there. It's getting greater and greater.
Yeah, I'm liking the look of it.
Look at that thing.
Yeah.
And so basically we add 2 games and take one away.
Mm-hmm.
So we're adding 1 game every single episode, and it's just going to keep going up. And we're going to fall behind eventually.
Nah.
But that's what makes it so great.
We're going to get one of the games and we're going to be like, what is that? And that's going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a good game.
What game do you want to add to the wheel this time?
All right. I've done it. This literally has non-game in the title.
Oh.
And so something about this, I'm like, I don't want to add it. It's not really a game, but I'm going to add it anyway because I want to figure out what it is. It's $3.84. Pretty cheap. It's called Yugo, the Non-Game. It's a virtual space where you can drive a car, listen to the radio, and invite people to talk and share the experience with.
Oh.
It's an online multiplayer game where people just get in and you just chat it up on a drive. And that seems kind of interesting to me. And so I want to see what that's about.
Interesting. Okay. You go the non-game. It's not a game. You're just vibing.
It's not a game. It's just vibing, but it is a game. It's on Steam. I don't know. It was similar to, it says it's similar to Slacker's Carts of Glory. I don't know how, but that's what Steam says. So
is there like prox chat where you can actually talk?
That's what it is. Yeah. It's sort of like, I imagine it's like Omegle meets car conversation, but the reviews are very positive on it.
Have you ever been in a car like late night driving and you just get in some deep conversation with someone? Like
that's literally what it says. I think you wrote that review. You've probably played this game.
Okay. That's it. I like the vibe.
It's a weird vibe, but $3.84. I'm willing to check them vibes.
Throw it on the wheel.
Yeah. It's on the wheel. How about you? What are you adding?
I'm adding a game that couldn't be more different than the game that you're adding.
Good.
Yeah, I've actually been following this game for a while, and I've been looking forward to its release. I haven't gotten to it yet since it released on September 26th, and I figure I can wait a little longer, add it to the wheel, and play it whenever we end up spinning it. It's a game called Mouthwashing. It's a psychological horror, atmospheric thriller. Super weird. I'll just come out and say that right away. Very weird. I'll read the description real quick. It's very short. The 5 crew members of the Tolpar are stranded in the empty reaches of space, shrouded in perpetual sunset. God is not watching. And it looks really weird. It's called Mouthwashing.
Sounds weird.
I'll just leave it at that. But I hope we roll it soon, spin it soon, because I want to play it and I want to hear what you have to think about it. And I want to see what this game has to offer. It's only like 2.5, 3 hours long. So it's not a super long experience, but it is $13. So not too cheap, but not too expensive.
Yeah. That puts like stakes on it. You know what I mean? Like it's like, would you really play it again? You bought it for $13. Would you buy it for $13?
Recommend it? Yeah. Would you recommend somebody spend $13 on this? Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
All right. You ready for this?
Spin that wheel.
Okay. Oh, you lucky dog, you.
This is not rigged, people. This is not rigged.
Lucky dog, you.
Nice. Mouthwashing.
Dang, I'm not going to be able to eat dinner tomorrow. I'm going to have to pay $13 for this game.
I know. I get paid on Monday, so I might have to wait till then because I'm kind of broke. I'm not going to lie.
Yep, I'm going to give up dinner tomorrow.
That's okay. Ice soup. Ice water soup.
Ice soup, yeah.
Nice. So the next game for Player Pass that we'll be discussing next episode is called Mouthwashing. Feel free, spend $13 and play it with us, or wait for our conclusion and see whether or not you should play or pass on this game.